Hi, everybody. Hey, today's message is based on a great quote and a concept from a book called The War of Art by a guy named Pressfield. Great book, one of my absolute favorites in the area of personal development. It's both eye-opening and completely relatable for me. I think his style and the way he approaches the subject is just very useful for me. And you can find a link to that book on my website, johnmaconline.com. There's a recommended reading list. Go check it out if you have any interest. Anyway, in this book, he organizes it into sort of 3 sub-books or chapters, large chapters or whatever. And the first one is completely focused on defining what he calls resistance. And resistance is this term for a concept that he's putting forth that our mind is keeping us from doing useful work. And so he uses the term resistance to kind of define that, right? And the quote, I'm just going to read the quote. It goes like this. It says, "As artists and professionals, it is our obligation to enact our own internal revolution, a private insurrection in our own skulls. And in this uprising, we free ourselves from the tyranny of consumer culture. We overthrow the programming of advertising, movies, video games, magazines, TV, MTV, Twitter, Facebook, throw in whatever else there, by which we have been hypnotized from the cradle. We unplug ourselves from the grid by recognizing that we will never cure our restlessness by contributing our disposable income, and I would add time, to the bottom line of Bullshit Inc., but only by doing our work." Okay, so what's he saying? I think he's saying we have to recognize and acknowledge that our culture the current culture that we live in, it is and has been bombarding us with their agenda from the time that we were born. And we got to fight that internally in order to do anything useful, to move forward, to accomplish something, to do our work, right? And so to do that, one of the ways we have to do that is we got to unplug ourselves to some extent, some more than others probably, from the machine and actually start doing the work from that consumer culture machine. And we got to take back our time, take back our money, and produce something. So one of the ways I check myself on this concept, and this is a conversation I've actually had with my kids too. This is something I've been thinking about for a long time, since the kids were little. In general, what I ask myself, so am I being more of a producer or a consumer at any given time? Of course, we have seasons and moments in our lives where we're one more than the other. But in general, am I being more of a producer or more of a consumer? And if you're producing more than you're consuming, then your net value is positive. And if it's the other way around, then your net value is negative. And I'm always striving to make my net value positive. And so I think what Mr. Pressfield's saying with this message is that we have to wage this war of producing something. So to be a producer, one of the places we have to wage that war is in our own mind with the resistance. Because the mind would rather give in to the resistance because it's much easier for sure. Like it's very easy to just do other things and just give in to that entertainment that exists so prevalently now with all this technology. So we got to be conscious of that. We got to battle it, and we got to keep adding value by doing our work, whatever your work is, right? So I hope this helped you a little bit. Again, you can find me on my website, johnmaconline.com. Would love to hear from you. Comment below if you got any value or if you have any thoughts on this, and have a great day. Thanks.